If your goal is to have an unmedicated birth, I want to share with you my unmedicated Bradley birthing experience, because you can do it. You can have the birth that you want. You can have an unmedicated birth in a hospital setting. And I'm here to share my birth experience. So let's get into it. Hi guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm Tonya, and this is my channel where I talk about all things motherhood, entrepreneurship, owning and scaling a Shopify business. And today I want to talk about the moment that made me a mother. The day I became a mother, I experienced and I was able to have an unmedicated hospital birth, and we utilized the Bradley birthing method. And I wanted to create this video because as a first-time mom, when I was heading into labor for the first time and didn't know what to expect, I watched birth stories, I watched birth blogs, birth vlogs, I read stories and everything else on the Baby Years app or whatever app that was, the Glow app and so forth, because I wanted to get an idea of what I was going to go into. So I hope that this video is helpful for someone watching. And I just want to say, in the words of the man that is Mike Tyson, everybody has a plan till they get hit in the face, right? That's his quote. Everybody has a plan till they get hit in the face. Well, with labor, everybody has a plan until that first contraction hits, and that 100th contraction hits, and maybe even that 300th contraction hits, and we'll just take it from there. So me and my husband decided to do the Bradley birthing process. And I'll say, so the Bradley birthing method is a birthing method similar to Lamaze, similar to hypnobirthing and so forth. It's a birthing method, but it is a structured way and a structured approach to learning about birth and the birthing process. So we chose the Bradley method because after doing my research, I knew I wanted to have an unmedicated birth, and most of the women who I was reading had Bradley birth methods were successful in having an unmedicated birth in a hospital or a home setting. We've ended up going to the website and finding an instructor near us, and it's 12 weeks of classes. So we committed to 12 weeks of classes. I just felt like, even though women have been giving birth since the beginning of time, 2 hours worth of classes was not sufficient enough for me, like that the hospital was offering. And business of birth, I feel like them classes are low-key a setup, because the people I know taking them classes, their birth ended as cesarean because they don't arm you with the information needed. And Bradley birth was not just about a class, it was about a lifestyle preparing you for a successful unmedicated birth. And what I can say is that out of my class, there were 8 of us. All 8 of us successfully had unmedicated births, and my instructor said that's not unusual for her. Things do happen, babies are born breech and so forth else, but it is very typical that the ladies in her class are able to, the mothers in her class are able to successfully have an unmedicated birth. So that was one of the reasons I selected it. It is a guideline. You learn each week for 12 weeks. You learn about different aspects of birth. You learn about everything from preparing your body to diet. And one of the things I loved is going in, they said labor is an athletic event. And it truly is. So preparing for Karis, I was walking daily for 30 minutes. I was doing squats to open up my hips and get my body ready for if I was going to squat, get my thighs ready and so forth for what we were about to do. I really prepared myself. And then my husband, part of the Bradley method, is the partner. So the birthing partner can be your spouse. The birthing partner can be a parent or a relative. It can be your best friend, whoever you choose. But your birthing partner is also instrumental in learning with you. So my husband was also helping me prepare and giving me massages and learning how to massage me during labor and stuff during this process. So I love my Bradley experience. I think that it's one of the reasons that I didn't end up developing preeclampsia. I was at risk of developing preeclampsia because my mother had it with me and I was gaining significant weight. You see how small I am. Like, I'm a small framed woman. I ended up gaining about 65 pounds while pregnant with my son. And so I went from being 130 pounds to 188 pounds the day that I delivered him. One of the things that was instrumental with the Bradley method is the diet is heavy on protein. And my birth team, let me just go back. The diet is heavy on protein. And my birth team consisted of my OBGYN, my midwife, and my Bradley instructor, and my husband. My OBGYN started to recognize that I was looking like I was going to develop preeclampsia and was like, watch your salt intake, try not to gain any more weight. Like, what? How do you tell a pregnant woman who is growing a person not to gain any more weight? So I called my Bradley instructor, my midwife, in tears because I was like, I'm such a bad mom already. I'm not a good mom. I'm putting this baby at risk. I'm putting my life at risk. And they're like, girl, eat more protein, so and so and so. And I actually was able to stave off preeclampsia that way. And I mean, Beyonce had preeclampsia, and I just look at how many people failed them because I definitely was like gunning. I I was like Dodge Hellcat on my way to preeclampsia, and by watching my diet and so forth. And I also bought a monitor. I have my own heart rate monitor now because I'm extra like that. And I was monitoring my heart rate every day. And the days that I was not properly eating my protein was the days that my heart rate started to creep up. But when I would eat my proper dose of protein and would abide by the Bradley method, then my blood pressure would remain within normal range. And so that was really instrumental. So fast forward to the day of my birth, because we made it, yay. The night before, I started passing my mucus plug, and then about midnight, maybe about 11 o'clock midnight, I had my bloody show. Thing I loved about having my midwife is I text her a picture of my bloody show, and I text her a picture. I was like, is this a bloody show? And she was like, yes. Wash your hair, get some sleep, do whatever you need to do, because you're going to have a baby in the next 48 hours, girl. Went to sleep, laid down. About 3 o'clock, I was woken up, had to go to the bathroom, started like having loose stools and so forth. Felt like I had a heavy period kind of coming on, like was having period discomfort. But I went back to sleep. Went back to sleep to about 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock, I woke up and I was like, oh, these are intense period cramps. You're in labor for real. So I got out of bed because I couldn't lay in bed anymore. Went out to my living room couch, kind of just like laid on the couch. I hadn't woke my husband up at this time. I didn't wake him up till about 8 o'clock. But 8 o'clock, I woke him up and I contacted my doctor's office as soon as they opened at 9 to let them know that I was in labor. And they're like, oh, Dr. Noel is in Sacramento for the holiday because the next day was Thanksgiving. Karis wasn't due until the 29th. I went into labor on November 21st. And so he was out of town. Great. All right. Good thing I have my midwife and so forth. So contacted everybody, let them know we're in labor, contacted my parents, put everybody on baby standby. Laboring, making sure I'm eating, because labor is one of those things, like if you don't know how long it's going to go. So it's important to eat while you can, while you have an appetite. Had an oatmeal and banana for breakfast and so forth. Then proceeded to sit on the couch, get some work done, get a social media post up as I shared on my maternity leave video. Make sure you watch that. And while we're at it, like, subscribe, check out so you can check out my other videos. Finish watching this and then go watch the other ones if it applies to you. But was posting and then like just decided to relax and watch some Netflix and like ride the labor waves, because it really is a labor wave. So ride the labor waves, did this, tried to fall asleep, just relax, and was in a place of peace until about 2. Then my husband tried to fix me some lunch. I really ain't want that lunch. And he decided, he was like, let's go on a walk. Like he's really trying to distract me from like focusing on labor. So we go on a walk. During that walk, I like had to stop and like kind of wait through my contractions a couple of times, because they would hit me. They hit you every couple minutes. At this point, I don't know how far my contractions are. Maybe like 8, 11 minutes apart. So, cause they do teach you to time contractions, but in that moment, I'm just like, whatever. So like maybe he's like having me wait and so forth. Make sure that I'm waiting, dealing with the contractions, make our way back to our apartment. Like in the elevator, the contractions are really kicking in. I'm just leaning my head up on the wall. I'm just like, oh, this is real. This is real. I'm already like, oh, I hope I'm one of those people who like the baby just automatically comes, and I wasn't one of those people. 3 or 4, I decide like we need to go ahead and start making our way to the hospital, because we live in Los Angeles. I don't want to be in traffic. I've been in labor since 3 o'clock this morning, and I don't want to have the baby in the car. That's not like the absolute worst case scenario, but it's something that I don't want to do. I don't want to be part of my birth story. So my midwife was on her way over to the house, but we told her just go ahead and meet us at the hospital. About 4 o'clock, we started packing up, and I was like, just meet us at the hospital. I don't want to do this no more at home. So pack myself up, get to the hospital, arrive at the hospital. We had done pre-registration, which I highly recommend. So pre-registration allows you to register all your information. So you literally just show up and get the band. So we show up. I'm telling the lady, I'm like, hey, I'm here. I'm in labor. She's like, are you sure? How do you know you're in labor? I lost my mucus plug. I have my bloody show. I've been having contractions for the past like 14 hours at this point. Boo, I'm in labor. And she said, well, let's check your cervix and let's get your vitals and everything. Gets me in a room, checks my cervix. I'm 5 centimeters. Let's go. Admit me. So they admit me and so forth. I give them my birth plan, which is something else you create in the Bradley birthing classes. I create my birth plan. I created my birth plan. I hand them my birth plan. My birth plan indicated no unnecessary cervical checks. I do not want to be hooked up to an IV. You can apply an IV lock, but do not hook me to an actual IV. I want it to be able to move around the room and labor around the room. And then I don't want the rupture of my amniotic sac. And so given my birth plan, I had a fantastic nurse. She was on and down with the program. She wanted me to have an unmedicated hospital birth. And I found out in hindsight that she's one of the ones who actually enjoys helping women have unmedicated births. There are people who do not enjoy it. Labor is a process, and there are nurses who do not enjoy helping women with that process. If at any point during your labor plan, you feel like that nurse is not in line with your plan, you can ask for another nurse and do it. It is your labor. Like, you might have other babies, but this is the only time you're going to give birth to this baby. Ask for what you want. Make the demands and get what you want, because you deserve it. You're making a human. You deserve it. And so my nurse was amazing. They got me into the room, laid me up in the bed and so forth. Things were pretty chill. You know, we labored. They brought me my monitor so that I could move around without being hooked up to any machine. So I walked around, was on the edge of the bed. Kamari was giving me massages, counter pressure massages to counter pressure the pressure of Karis moving down into my birth, moving down in my body, preparing for birth and so forth. So that was great. But by the time the sun started setting, your girl started losing hope. I was like, he ain't here yet. Like, the sun is setting. I've been doing this sun up, sun down. Dude, what's up? I've been walking. I've been exercising. Why isn't he here? So that was about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. Around 10 was when my body started, around 10:30 is when my body started to go into transition. So transition is when your body gets this influx of hormones and your body is preparing to help you through the birthing process. This is why there are people who can have a baby in a car and everything else, because your body literally is feeding you with hormones that will prepare you for what you are about to experience, because it is the realest SHIT I have ever experienced in my life. Did it, will do it again, but in the moment, you like that meme, I don't know. So the transition is to help your body prepare for that. And I think it has some memory dissolve and stuff, because now it's pain feels like a distant memory. The transition started happening, and everybody deals with transition differently. For me, transition looked like I was chattering. I was cold. I was hot. I was cold. I was hot. I was nauseated. I felt like I was going to throw up. Give me something so I can throw up into it. No, I'm not going to throw up. Just get this out my way. I'm cold. Please bring me a hot blanket. I'm shivering. Oh my gosh, I'm so hot. Get this off of me. Let me get in the shower and take a cold shower. So transition for me looked like a few of those things. That was about a 10 to 15 minute, maybe even 5 minutes. It felt like a long time, but maybe it was just a 5-minute experience. So I was like, okay, transition. I'm going to have this baby. No. So go through transition. Contractions are still coming, but they're coming more intense. They're coming more frequently. And I am tired at this point. Just like you might be tired of watching this video. When's she gonna have this baby? I was tired at this point. Maybe about 10. That was about 10. So about 11 o'clock, I feel start getting the urge to push. They'll talk about the urge to push, where you start to get a contraction and you just can't help but push. So I started to get the urge to push. Ended up starting to push the next contraction, get up. I walked to the bathroom because I want to push with my legs open and gritting down and burying on the toilet. Because I was if he come over the toilet, he gonna come over the toilet. Y'all follow me. So I'm sitting on the toilet. He's not coming. I'm getting frustrated at this point because I've had the urge to push 5 contractions, and I feel he should be here because I've seen it on TV where they get 3 contractions and their baby is here. Boom, bow, hey. I've had 5 contractions and he still ain't here. So I'm starting to get frustrated. So I get up, I'm starting to walk back to the bed. They're let's check your cervix at this time. At this point, I hadn't had any other cervical checks. I've been in the hospital for about 6 hours at this point. And I've been in labor for almost 20 hours at this point. So this is my second cervical check. She checked, she's like, Tonya, you have a bulging bag of water. You're about 9 centimeters. I'm like, oh, okay. All right. So I didn't ask for an artificial rupture of my amniotic sac, and you can look up why people don't suggest it. I'm not going to go into it in this video, but I end up feeling another contraction come. I'm like, oh God, let me get through this contraction. Let me go into the shower. Get up, go into the shower, end up having a contraction. No, let me sit on the toilet. That's a great thing about laboring how you want and being able to move around. You can change your mind. This ain't working. Let me do it this way. This ain't working. Let me do it this way. I'm sitting on the toilet. Contraction comes. I have the urge to push. Water. Literally heard my water hit heard my water hit the toilet. I said, oh, it's go time. It's go time. So I'm getting excited after I wade through that contraction, get up, start to wobble back to the bed, or because I asked them at this time to bring in the squat bar because I want to give birth like squatting so I can bear down. I don't want to give birth on my back. I want to give birth on all fours or squatting. So, but contraction hits me in the middle between my bed and the bathroom. I break down on the floor, like hovering over a yoga ball, and all this stuff starts coming out. I'm like, oh my God, what is what is this? And my midwife was like, girl, birth is messy. At that point, I knew I was not built for a home birth because ain't nobody cleaning that up. And so that made it through that contraction, get up on bed. I'm squatting, I'm pushing and so forth. 2 or 3 contractions pass with me pushing. Nothing's happening. I'm like, dude, where is he? Like, what is going on? I'm tired. And then they lay me on my side so they can see. They're like, let's see. So I lay on my side and they're like, Tonya, oh my gosh, we see his head. He has so much hair. Like, don't gas me. Y'all see him? Don't gas me up. I'm like, I'm just excited. Like, oh my gosh, my baby has a lot of hair. Like, I'm going to meet him. La, 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 la. I'm so excited. So next contraction comes. He's coming down the birthing canal. At that point, I'm starting to experience the ring of fire, which is when their head starts crowning. Do not be afraid of the ring of fire. Like, everyone experiences it differently. Like, I was really kind of nervous, but in the retrospect, like, I don't even remember what it felt like. In the moment, you know your body is definitely spinning and your baby is coming through your vagina. But it was kind of like, okay, next contraction, we're going to push. They had me hold at that to make sure my body had time to accommodate him and so forth so that he could get in a proper birthing position, my body could get ready. And that was, I believe, one of the reasons that I did not tear significantly, because some women, if you have an epidural, for example, you don't know that the baby is crowning because you can't feel anything and you're just going to push through it. I knew based on how I was feeling, let's give your body time to adjust for this. And so I had like a 1 degree tear. Like, I barely tore. I think I might have had like 2 or 3 stitches after I had him. After we let my body adjust, that next push, he was here. He came out like hands up. It was amazing. I had a birth playlist playing, and we had, when I looked back in the video, Karis arrived to Tina Marie's Deja Vu. One of the key tenets of the song is I was here before. One of the key lyrics, she says, I was here before. I really believe my son is an old soul who was here. So it was like perfectly appropriate that he came to that song, arrived to that song. And then when they weighed him, cleaned him off and everything, one of my favorite songs, Donny Hathaway, Love, 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 was playing, which was so perfect because I love him more than anything I have ever loved in my entire life. And meeting him for the first time was a truly emotional experience because you see your stomach moving around, your baby, like you watch your body grow and accommodate this baby you've never met before. And to hold him in my arms is like, oh, you're beautiful. It's so amazing to finally meet you. And so it remains one of the highlights of my life. No matter what I've accomplished, best-selling author, cover of magazine, Forbes, everything else, birthing my son the way I wanted to remains one of my biggest accomplishments. And just being his mother is one of the biggest accomplishments I've ever experienced. And so that is my Bradley birthing experience. I just wanted to share that because when I was preparing for labor, I had people tell me like, oh, honey, when them contractions kick in, you gonna beg for the epidural, or you can't do it, or don't even try, or like you don't get a trophy. But I really wanted that. I really wanted to have an unmedicated, interventionless birth. And I did it in a hospital setting, unmedicated. And so I wanted to share that experience. Hopefully this inspires someone else. If you had an unmedicated experience, or if you didn't, please share and comment below on your birthing experience. Please make sure you like this video. Let's have a conversation about birthing like in 2020 and 2021 and beyond and so forth. Share your experience below because I think that that's something so special to so many people and we don't get to share it. I think about my grandmother's generation and they didn't talk about birth. Like somebody just went to the hospital and came back, they had a baby. They didn't talk about it. I think it's beautiful that we talk about it. And I really hope that this video inspires someone. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it, and make sure you watch the other videos on my channel because you guys inspire me to create more content. I do this as a labor of love. So be passionate, be profitable, and do whatever the hell it is you say you want to do. I'll see you in the next video.